The biggest problem for the Biden administration remains that Kamala Harris is the backup to this dullard, senile president. It is hard to find a knife duller than Joe Biden. Somehow they found a spoon and made her vice president. Here was Kamala Harris yesterday saying something or other about NCAA women's brackets. She is just terrible at this.
Do you know, okay, a bit of a history lesson. Do you know that the women's teams were not allowed to have brackets until 2022? Think about that, and talk about progress, better late than never, but progress, and what that has done, because of course when, I had a bracket, it's not broken completely, but I won't talk about my bracket. But you know what? Just how we love March Madness, and even just now allowing the women to have brackets, and what that does to encourage people to talk more about the women's teams, to watch them. Now they're being covered, and this is the reality. People used to say, "Oh, women's sports, who's interested?" Well, if you can't see it, you won't be. But when you see it, you realize, oh
my God, she's so terrible. By the way, Barack Obama has been filling out the women's NCAA bracket since 2009. Kamala Harris pretending that women are victims in the United States in order to garner political power. She's so awkward and so terrible. If you're feeling weighed down by collections, medical bills, credit cards, personal loans, PDS Debt is your beacon of hope. They offer an innovative one-stop shop that will guide you on your journey to debt freedom and provide the relief you've been looking for. PDS Debt understands there is no one-size-fits-all solution to becoming debt-free, which is why they offer multiple programs and solutions, everyone tailored to your specific needs, budget, and financial goals. Whether you're going through a serious hardship or you just can't seem to keep up with the high interest on your credit cards, PDS Debt will craft a custom solution to give you instant relief and start saving you money. If you're making monthly payments on your debt, your balances are still not going down, this program is for you. PDS Debt provides options that consolidate your debts into one low monthly payment. Anyone with 10 grand or more in eligible debt qualifies. No minimum credit score is required. They want to help anyone with good and bad credit. Plus, with PDS Debt, you'll save thousands in interest and fees and pay off your debt in a fraction of the time. PDS Debt is offering my listeners a free debt analysis. It takes only 30 seconds. Head on over to pdsdebt.com/Shapiro. Get your free debt assessment today. That's pdsdebt.com/Shapiro. Check them out today. Even the left is realizing they need to dissociate from DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion programs. Last night on The Daily Show, Charlamagne the God was hosting, and he actually went after DEI, which was kind of a shock.
The truth about DEI is that although it's well-intentioned, it's mostly garbage, okay? It's kind of like the Black Little Mermaid. Just because racists hate it doesn't mean it's good. And you know I'm right, because every one of you has sat through one of those diversity training sessions and thought, this is And it's not just you. Over 900 studies have shown that DEI programs don't make the workplace better for minorities. In fact, it can actually make things worse because of the backlash effect. And honestly, I'm not surprised these programs didn't work. And here's why. It's just corporate PR. They want good vibes. And also, they want to cover their okay? Did you know that if a company gets sued for civil rights violations, just having a DEI program will be counted as evidence in their favor, even if the program doesn't do okay? It's the I have a black friend of the legal system, right? We don't need corporate DEI.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that people are finally getting wise to this. Pretty amazing stuff there from Charlamagne the God. Good to see at least a little bit of rationality in this insane political time. Meanwhile, the media, recognizing that Joe Biden's foreign policy is a complete disaster area, they are now attempting to suggest that Donald Trump is mirroring Joe Biden's foreign policy, particularly with regard to Israel. So there was an interview that Donald Trump did recently with an Israeli newspaper called Israel Hayom, in which he was talking about the state of Israel and its foreign policy with regard to Gaza. And he basically said Israel needs to hurry up and end the war because the PR disaster is bad for Israel. Okay, that happens to be true. Israel should have moved much faster. Israel made a crucial mistake in the opening hours of this war. They took the West too seriously. What I mean by that is that we in the West, we like to talk a lot about human rights and humanitarianism. The reality is what the population cannot bear is not bad pictures on our TV. We can bear that, but only for a very short time. If it lasts for a very long time, then we start to get upset. So, for example, if it's the war in Iraq in 1991 and we see a highway of death, we can do that for like a few days. If it lasts a few months, we start to get antsy. So if you are an American ally, short and dirty is better than long and less dirty. Israel listened to the United States on the humanitarian measures, which is why they were shuttling civilians all around the Gaza Strip. It's why they've been allowing in literally tons of food aid every single day. The reason that they've been doing that is out of deference to the Americans, and also because Israel is a democracy and would like to see civilians not killed. But it turns out that when you do that, the press still hates you, and then they seek your defeat anyway. And Donald Trump knows that. So that's what Donald Trump is saying. So the other day, he was on Hugh Hewitt's radio show, and Trump was talking about the situation in Israel. He said Israel was losing the PR war. He said they put out tapes all the time. Every night they're releasing tapes of a building falling down. They shouldn't be releasing tapes like that. That's why they're losing the PR war. Israel is absolutely losing the PR war. He is correct about that. Israel is losing the PR war because they fundamentally, again, believe that the American people are willing to look at ugly pictures on their TV if they understand that those ugly pictures are necessary in order to achieve victory. But the truth is, the American people don't like ugly pictures on our TV, like under any circumstances. And if those ugly pictures last for like 2 weeks, then we're okay. And if those ugly pictures last for like 6 months, then we become slightly less okay. And Trump knows that because he's a TV guy. He says, I think that's one of the reasons there's been a lot of kickback. If people didn't see that, every single night I'd watch and single every one of those. I think Israel wanted to show it's tough. Sometimes you shouldn't be doing that. He said Israel was releasing tapes of buildings falling down. People are imagining there's lots of people in those buildings, and they don't like it. Again, he said that Israel should hurry up. That he's right about that. He is correct about that. But the media are treating that as though he's anti-Israel. No. Joe Biden literally just told Israel to stop fighting Hamas because Chef Jose Andres told him that he was mad about the World Central Kitchen disaster. That's anti-Israel. Joe Biden is putting every ounce of pressure he can muster on the Israeli government right now to oust the sitting government that was elected, and also to force them to preemptively declare a ceasefire while hostages are still being held by Hamas. That's anti-Israel. Donald Trump is saying Israel should do what it has to do and do it fast and get it over with. That's not anti-Israel. That's good advice. Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.